After what was a very interesting round one of the 2024 Six Nations competition, we head into round two this weekend. And in this preview show, I'm going to be talking about the game coming up between England and Wales to be played at Twickenham. G'day everyone, and if you haven't been here before, my name is Mark. This is Inside Rugby, and I'm a Kiwi rugby fan living in beautiful Cancun in Mexico. Okay, getting stuck into round two of the Six Nations this weekend, and the game I'm going to review in this video is the game between England and Wales to be played at Twickenham. It's going to be an interesting game. I'm going to go through the team selections and then I'm going to give you my prediction for this game. So let's get straight into it. Okay, let's have a look at England to start off with, and of course they're coming off that scratchy win against Italy. They weren't at their best. Steve Borthwick put it down to the team coming together for the first time, getting some combinations going, and they were happy to get away with that win in Italy in Rome last weekend. This weekend the pressure's going to be on a little bit more. They're at home in Twickenham in front of their home fans, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on making sure that they improve on that performance against Italy. And of course Wales always give them a bit of a hard time when it comes to playing them at Twickenham. So interesting to see that the England team going into this game is unchanged from that game that started off against Italy. And let's go through the team now, starting in the backs. And at fullback we've got Freddie Stewart. On the wings we've got Freeman and Daly. I thought Freeman played very well in that game against Rome. He was hungry for the ball, he did some good things in open play, and he broke the line a couple of times, which I think England would be looking for again against Wales. And then moving on to the centres, we've got Slade and Dingwall back in there again. Didn't see too much of those guys against Italy. They were okay in defence, but we didn't see Henry Slade and Dingwall doing too much in attack, and I think that's something we'll be looking for a little bit more in this game against Wales on the weekend. Now, as far as the inside pairing goes for England in the backs, we've got Mitchell and Ford. Both played well, I thought, against Rome without being super outstanding. Ford, of course, Mr. Reliable with the kicks, and England will be looking for that again from Ford this weekend, making sure those penalties and those conversions, and who knows, maybe a couple of drop goals in this one from Ford as well. But I thought Mitchell played pretty well in the game against Italy. And then the back three for England in the subs are unchanged as well. We've got Danny Kerr coming on, of course, played well at halfback last week. Finn Smith probably going to get a second run this weekend, and Wabasso, who comes on the wing. So some good substitutes there for England to come on when Steve Borthwick decides. Now let's have a look at the English forwards for this game and tell you what I think of this pack as well. So starting off with the back three in the forwards for England, and we've got of course at number 8 Ben Earl, and then Underhill and Roots, Ethan Roots on the flankers. Ethan Roots won the man of the match against Italy last weekend, and he'll be looking to back up that performance this weekend. And then in the locks we've got Chisholm and we've got Itoje. Again, they were quite good against Italy. I thought they got a lot of set ball in the set pieces, particularly the line out ball. They did well in the scrums, and would expect them to have to work a little bit harder this week against the Welsh pairing that are going to come in at locks in this particular game. And then in the front row for England we've got Stewart, George and Marler, and of course Jamie George, the captain of England at the moment. Marler, I thought, had a fairly good game last week, so it'll be up to this English pack to see whether they can dominate Wales and get their backs some good quality ball if we're going to see any kind of an expansive game from England in this particular match against Wales. Now let's have a look at the reserves in the forwards for England, and basically the same as last week. Theo Dan, Genge in there, Coles and Cunningham South, who really came on and made an impact, I thought, against Italy. And it'll be interesting to see whether we see a little bit more of Cunningham South in this particular game against Wales. So there we go, the England team staying pretty much the same, and I think Steve Borthwick wants to try and keep some consistency, give these guys an opportunity to grow together and get their combinations going through this Six Nations tournament. So let's move on now and have a look at Wales and see what changes they've made for this game against England. So looking at Wales for this weekend, it's pretty obvious that Gatlin is giving the young guys a little bit of an opportunity here to prove themselves. There were some good performances in that second half against Scotland last weekend, and I think Gatlin's rewarding those players that played well. But let's have a look at the Wales lineup for this game, starting off in the backs, and we've got Cameron Winnett again at fullback. I really liked his performance against Scotland. I thought he was pretty solid throughout the game, and he's a young guy that's going to obviously have a good future for Wales if he can keep his performances going, and I think he can do that. On the wings, we've got Adams and we've got Dyer. Lucky to see Adams back in there after that brain fade he had against Scotland. You might have seen it, he threw the ball out over the touchline, caused a penalty against Wales at that time, and it gave Scotland some more momentum in that game. So I think Gatlin's saying to Adams, look, you get back on, but this is your last chance. You better play well this weekend, make up for that error last weekend, and we'll see how we go. Rio Dyer had a good game, I thought, was obviously scoring tries, but he was also very good at getting through breaks and giving Wales the opportunity to play that expansive game last weekend. He's back in the team for this game against England. And then we're going to see George North and Tompkins back together. Tompkins back together again in the centre pairing. North has got over that injury. He had a bit of a stinger to his shoulder, and he's available again for this weekend. So good to see him come back, and one of the most capped Welsh players of all time. Not only brings that experience, but he's also very, very good at what he does both on offense and defense. So seeing him combine with Tompkins again this weekend is going to be good, and it gives Wales a good opportunity to get on the front foot. And then moving into the halves, and we've got some very interesting decisions here. Ian Lloyd has got back in at number 10. Costello's got a bit of a neck issue, I think, and has kept him out of the team for this weekend. And Thomas Williams comes in at halfback, and he was very good when he came on against Scotland last weekend. So I'm really interested to see how this combination of Thomas Williams and Lloyd goes, starting the game together, getting some quality time together, and it's going to be good to see whether or not they can get this Welsh bat line going, and it's all going to depend, of course, on how much ball Wales gets from the forward. So let's have a look at their forward pack that's going into this game. So the back three for Wales in this game is Wainwright. Aaron Wainwright played fantastic in that game last weekend against Scotland, was the man of the match, and ended up scoring a brilliant try as well. But he was more importantly opening up the Scottish defence in the beginning of that second half when Wales started to get that real momentum behind him. And it's an opportunity to Wainwright now to keep that momentum going and showing Warren Gatland and the crew what he can really do. And then we've got Mann and we've got Rafael on the flanks this weekend. Mann getting an opportunity to start this game. I like this guy. He came on and scored a try last weekend as well. Young guy, got lots of talent, and I think this Welsh team's going to be something pretty special in a couple of years' time if they can keep these combinations together. So I like that back three for Wales. I think they're going to do a very, very good job again. And then we've got in the locks Beard and Jenkins will be the captain. I think they need to perform a little bit better than they did against Scotland. They weren't really into winning a lot of ball, and the lineouts in the first half for Wales were an absolute disgrace. So I think they really need to get themselves together and play a good game, both of these locks, and I'm sure Gatland's going to be watching them very, very closely. So Beard and Jenkins in the locking position this weekend for Wales. And we've got a new front three for Wales in this game against England this weekend, with Azarati, D and Thomas lining up, and Domachowski's gone from that starting lineup, as is Elias. So it's going to be interesting to see how this Welsh pack go. They're going to have to try and get some ascendancy to get the ball for these backs to shine in this game, and I think that's where this game's going to be won and lost, depending on who can tie up the possession on the majority of the occasion. It's going to then give each team the opportunity to play the right amount of territory. So let's see how this pack goes. And then having a look at the substitute forwards for Wales in this game against England, and we've got Elias, Domachowski, Griffin, Rowlands and Basham. Good to see Basham back in there as well. And Domachowski, I think he can do better off the bench than he can starting the game, and I think it's a good use of his position there. Let me know what you think about Domachowski when it comes to whether he should be in the starting lineup or whether he should be coming in off the bench. And then having a look at the substitute backs for Wales in this game, we've got Hardy, Evans and Grady. Good to see Grady back in there. I thought he got a bit of a knock last weekend, but he's obviously over that, and I think he's going to be an important substitute for Wales in this particular game. Okay, so how's this game going to go? What's my prediction for this game between England and Wales at Twickenham? Well, I think England are going to edge this one. I think they're going to have too much, and it's going to come down to this. I think England are building into this tournament, and I think their first game last weekend was a little bit scratchy. When they did get the ball and start going forward, they looked pretty good. They obviously want to play a more expansive game, and George Ford talked about this after the game, as did Jamie George. They're talking about their desire, that they want their DNA to be an expansive, open flowing game of rugby, but they need to win that ball comprehensively in the first place to give the backs an opportunity. I think we should never underestimate Mitchell and Ford in that half pairing. I think that's going to be vital in this game. Ford can control the game with his boot, but he can also distribute the ball to give those outside backs an opportunity. I think that's something that is going to be very important over the course of 80 minutes, and that's what it comes down to for me. I think that Wales haven't quite got that 80-minute performance in them at the moment because of the young team and them coming together. George North might change that a little bit with his experience in the team, but I think it's going to have to take a few games for this Welsh team to have performances like they had in that 25 minutes of the second half against Scotland, for them to grow the belief, grow the combinations, and overcome the fear that they might have of some of this opposition that they're playing. Some of these players going to Twickenham for the first time in Wales, and it's going to be a daunting prospect for them sitting in front of that home English crowd on Saturday in that particular game. So I'm giving this one to England. I think it might be somewhere in the vicinity of 6 to 10 points. Now, I think they're going to be too strong for Wales. My gut on the other side says that Wales are going to put in a good performance, and we're going to see some exciting rugby from them, and I think that's what's going to be great about this young Welsh side. I think they've definitely got the talent. They just need some more games to build into it together to really find out how they're going to go in the future. But I think they're going to be starved a little bit of ball. I think the English back three are going to be dominant in this game. I think they're going to be able to get more ball than Wales are going to be able to win at the breakdown situation, and I like the idea of Itoje and Chesham playing well in the locking position to give them an opportunity at lineouts to win more ball than Wales. Wales looked very disrupted in their lineout in the first half against Scotland. They got it together a little bit in the second half, so it'll be interesting to see whether or not they can bring that factor in the lineouts to this particular game. Give the English front row a little bit of dominance in this game over the Welsh front row. I think they're going to be stronger and more set technically in the scrums, and I think that might make a difference as well. So whether or not we see Mitchell putting up box kicks or George Ford kicking strategically, or whether we see George Ford opening up the backs and giving them that opportunity, I think England have lots of different variations of play they can go to this weekend against Wales. On the other hand, I think Wales are going to chance their arm, they're going to run the ball, and they're going to put this English defence under a bit of pressure. And we saw what happened in Italy when Italy were able to do that against England. Can Wales have the same impact? There you go, there's my prediction for this game between England and Wales in the weekend. Let me know in the comments who you think is going to win this game, but more importantly, tell me where you think they're going to win this game. How are they going to get over the line and compete for 80 minutes? Are England going to win it in the forwards, or are they going to have too much experience in the back? Or is that young Welsh team going to be able to show us that it wasn't just the 25-minute blitz of Scotland, but they're able to put that type of game together for 80 minutes? I'd really like to hear your views on this one in the comments. Okay, so that's what I think is going to happen in this game between England and Wales. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, I'm going to be back with a full review of this game after it's been played, going in depth, having a look at the entire game, who did well, who didn't do well, and where the game was won and lost. So make sure you stick around for that, and the best way to do that is hit the subscribe button, of course. Give this video a thumbs up if you can, helps me with the algorithm on YouTube, and don't forget to leave your comments as well. Time for me to say adios from Mexico. I'll be back again really soon. Until then, stay safe, stay well everyone, and keep enjoying your rugby. Bye for now.